Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Teo here, back with some more Ever17. Here, in the thick of Sarah's route, we are learning all sorts of exciting things about her pendant, and about, the kid's sister, and about stuff? Stuff. The next morning I overslept. A man after my own heart. I thought I might be in trouble with everyone, but it seemed like I wasn't the only one. The late start pushed our breakfast time back later than always. We wanted a change of pace, to do something fun, so we spread out a blanket in the park's rest area. Sold? No, it isn't, huh? Thought we'd had this, little picnic before. The blanket was from a shop on the same floor. It had Lima's Mew Mew label printed on it. Sora couldn't eat, but she sat with us, smiling just the same. As if drawn by the scent, Tsugumi appeared. But if she didn't notice or didn't care, Tsugumi parked herself on Mew Mew's face. She started munching a sandwich. Of course, Takeshi started complaining, but Tsugumi just ignored him. Sarah and Tsugumi didn't look at each other. It seemed like they were ignoring each other. Apparently they still weren't getting along. But everyone tried to make the best of it, eating, chatting, and having fun. Rock, paper, scissors. Ready, go. I lost again? Kid, you're terrible at this. What is that, 16 losses in a row? Weird. Too nice. You just have to throw out what you feel. Rock, paper, scissors. He's the gullible type. I am not. I'm trying to win. Ready, go. Dang it! I just kept losing. Could it be that with your amnesia, your ability to make decisions isn't so good right now? I think, yeah, we've definitely had this conversation before, because I got worked up last time about how, like, there better be some sort of, like, supernatural explanation for why he's losing at rock, paper, scissors so many times in a row. Because, like, the odds are 1 in 3 of losing any given game of rock, paper, scissors. So to lose, what is this, 18 times in a row now? Like, I don't know what 3 to the 18th is off the top of my head, but I have the feeling it's a really big number. Actually, I have the power of the internet at my disposal. We're gonna look up 3 to the 18th. 3 to the 18th is, how many zeros is that? That's like, 400 million. That's a pretty big number. So there's like a 1 in 400 million chance that he, like, assuming it's actually random, you lose rock, paper, scissors 18 times in a row, right? So we have to assume that A, either the kid is a complete dumbass and has been playing the same thing 18 times in a row or something. B, his, like, I don't know, supernatural future-telling powers are, like, backfiring on him in some capacity. C, he's intentionally throwing using his future-telling powers. Or D, like, I don't know, the writers are bad at math. Don't get too caught up with the trivial things you can't control. You need to be strong. Make up your own mind. You'll just end up following everyone else. I know. That being as it is, time for the loser's penalty. Hand over your sandwich. Oh, right, this was gross. Silently, I held out my sandwich. Alrighty. She squeezed a ton of mustard onto my sandwich. The penalty was mustard, and my sandwich was already drenched in the stuff. I feel like after, like, there's a certain amount of mustard where it's, like, reasonable as a punishment, right? Where it's like, oh, now my sandwich is spicy. Like, it's still fun, right? Like, you haven't ruined the sandwich, you just made it, like, painful to eat. Like, that's funny. But there's a certain, like, percentage of the sandwich that can be mustard before, like, the structural integrity of the sandwich starts degrading. Like, before you're, like, no longer holding a sandwich, you're holding, like, a mustard sludge. And, like, I feel like you have to stop playing before it gets to that point, or it stops being fun and just starts being, like, now I really don't want to eat my lunch anymore. Like, pain is hilarious. Ruining food is not hilarious. My mouth felt like it was on fire before I even took a bite. Maybe thanks to that silly exchange, I was able to get through the whole thing without thinking about it too much. Suddenly, someone cut across my field of vision. It was Tsugumi. Tsugumi was walking toward Takeshi. She extended her hand. Oh, what's with the hand? Oh yeah, she wants another sandwich. You're like a dog. Shake, girl. And you'll probably say, don't make fun of me. You're really dumb, you know that? Are you trying to say that you want another helping? Tsugumi nodded at Sora's extra explanation. You know, we have these lovely things called vocal cords. And among other things, among other, like, useful abilities these vocal cords grant you, they grant you the ability to communicate your desires and needs to other human beings. Funny how that works. She already wolfed down her first one. Hey, you got a lot of nerve. You only show your face at mealtime and now you're demanding seconds? Well, I suppose. So do you have more or not? I do. Thought you might want more, so I made a special one for you. Special? I had a bad feeling about the whole thing. Eat this, and no leftovers. Oh, right. This makes a little more sense in retrospect, given that we established in Tsugumi's route that she, like, eventually just lost the ability to feel pain. You can, I guess, infer from that she might have also lost her ability to taste. Like, those sort of nerve endings seem like they might be related in some capacity. Again, not a biologist, but seems plausible. Eat this. No leftovers. Tsugumi took the sandwich without saying anything. Takeshi stared at Tsugumi as she took the wrap off of the sandwich. What? Nothing, just that you're so beautiful. I can't even take my eyes off you, even when you're just removing a sandwich wrapper. Your stupidity is terminal. Maybe if you died 50 times, it would help. Wait. Is that, like, more serious than I thought it was the first time around? Like, I'm still not sort of sold on the theory that everyone, or that anyone rather, other than Tsugumi has cure. Like, so far we haven't been really given any information that would lead us to believe that, other than sort of like meta speculation about the structure of the overarching plot. Like, there hasn't really been a point that Tsugumi's bled on anyone on screen, but yeah, I don't know. It's entirely plausible that this is just a generic insult. I thought Takeshi would get angry, but he was just grinning as he watched Tsugumi start in on her sandwich. Something was definitely not right here, and I sucked in my breath and watched. Tsugumi bit into the sandwich. Munch. Chomp. Chew. It's got quite a flavor, huh? That sandwich. Takeshi laughed so hard he cried. It's packed with mustard, Tabasco, pepper, sage, nutmeg, cinnamon, mint, and a dose of curry powder. Yeah, I think I had this conversation with myself last time as well. Like, I was with you up until mint. And possibly nutmeg. Probably cinnamon. Like, mustard, Tabasco, pepper all seem like reasonable things to put in a sandwich. Sage is a little bit more dubious, but it's like a chicken sandwich. It's savory. You can get away with it. Nutmeg, we start having issues. Cinnamon, yeah, no. Mint, yeah, no. Curry powder seems, like, back to plausible. For good measure, I added a dose of mayonnaise, ketchup, sugar, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, and vanilla. And again, like, all these seem reasonable, but not in that combination. Oh yeah, not vanilla. And what else? Oh, I forgot. Anyway, I threw in every ingredient and spice that I could find. It's my special 34-ingredient sauce. Hey, that's just too cruel. Yeah. It's going too far, Takeshi. Shut up. I'm the cook here. Tsugumi, I highly recommend inducing vomiting immediately. Get water quickly. No, we'll need medicine first. She'll be fine. She'll get the runs, but she won't die. It's not something you should do to a girl. Or anyone. Like, there are things you can fuck with. A man or a woman's chicken sandwich is not on that list. I went to grab Takeshi with my left hand. Wait, I'm fine. Tsugumi mumbled this, stopping us. Well, aren't you tough? I'm perfectly fine. But it still tastes terrible, right? Right? Tell the truth. I'm totally fine. It tastes kind of like pizza. What? What did you just say? What's it taste like? Pizza. Are you serious? Tsugumi nodded. Hey, let me see that. That can't be. Takeshi went to grab the sandwich, but Tsugumi was too quick for him. Not only that, Takeshi caught his foot and fell to the floor. In that instant, Tsugumi polished off the sandwich. Thanks for the sandwich. You made it specifically for me, right? So the event ended with Tsugumi turning the tables on Takeshi. Yeah, I guess that makes that whole scene sort of makes more sense if we assume that Tsugumi's taste buds are just shot to hell. I ended up cleaning up afterward. I separated the cans and sandwich wrappers and put them in garbage bags. You and Sarah helped. Takeshi said he was going to start getting ready for lunch and headed to the kiosk. Sora said that she had to do some maintenance on Lemma and left for the control room. Tsugumi disappeared to somewhere unknown. But something happened when I was picking up garbage. Hello there. What? What's the matter? Nothing. Did somebody just call out? What? Nobody said anything. Really? Must be my imagination. But you're trying to find a way to get out of helping. I'm not. Not that at all. Hearing your mystery voices again? Well, Please don't do that again. Get a hold of yourself already. I know you're tired, but... We started picking up garbage again. We finally finished with the trash, folded the blanket, and we're done cleaning up. Now we'll just sweep the area. Mayo, can you do me a favor and get me a broom and dustpan? I think they're at the kiosk. Roger that! Sarah set out for the kiosk. I was just thinking, this must be a nightmare for the people that clean this place. It would be if people had to do it. But Lemma usually uses a cleaning robot that automatically cleans the whole complex. Wow. Well, what with the accident and all, I imagine the robot is a rusted pile of junk metal at the bottom of the ocean right about now. I'll bet. Heave ho! Heave ho! What? I was hearing voices again. Thinking about it, I guess that Limu is just one massive pile of scrap metal. Suppose it's just a matter of how it's destroyed. What's the matter? You're not again? Oh, alright, you've done enough. Just go to the infirmary or somewhere and rest. You got a serious condition of something. I was sure I'd heard something. This time, I was sure it wasn't my imagination. Carving. Chiseling away. See, I really can hear something. Cutting scars into this stone statue. What? Stone statue? I looked around the 4 stone statues at the edge of the open area, and there, atop the pedestal of a stone statue, was a girl. She was clinging there next to the figure as if clinging to the statue, or standing there next to the figure as if clinging to the statue. Oh, it's that girl. It was the girl that I had seen and who had then vanished on the first day. Look, you, right there! Huh? Look, over on that statue! What about the statue? Look, that stone statue! There's a girl there! See? Huh? I don't see anybody. Not there, over there! Oh, forget it, I'll go call to her. Kid! I sprinted toward the stone statue. What could the girl be doing up there? Well, it's because I was feeling lonesome. Lonesome? And anyway, I was feeling sad. Sad? What is she talking about? And next... Uh-oh! Just then the girl lost her balance, falling from her awkward place on the pedestal. Look out! I ran toward her. The water caught on my feet and sprayed everywhere as I ran all out to where she was. Will I make it? I closed my eyes and mustered all of my power and sprinted. No, don't close your eyes. Then we don't get to see what happens to the hologram. I threw out my free left hand to where the girl would be falling to catch her. Splash. I didn't feel anything. I thought maybe I hadn't reached her in time. Scared, I opened my eyes. What? There was no one in my arms. Or even around me. Only the water sloshing about gently around me. Hey, are you alright? Looks like you took a pretty nasty spill. I looked above me. Of course, there was no one on the pedestal supporting the statue. Without saying anything, I got up and went behind the statue. There were scratches in the statue. They were deep notches that looked like they had been carved there by something hard and sharp. They were the shape of people. Really simple looking, like stick people. At the end of each stick was a little round face. There were 6 in all. Looking closer, I saw that next to the people figures were 2 carvings of animals that I'd never seen. So yeah, Chami and Pee-Pee. I looked up at the statue. The statue was pointing diagonal and up, toward the east. Hey, what are you 2 doing? That's a good question. I ignored them and gently touched the carvings on the statue. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Watch your step, okay?" Okay. That answer could have been my imagination at that time. Okay, that's weird. That messes with my original theory that the kid is just watching, like, an afterimage of what had previously happened in Takeshi's route, functioning under the assumption that Takeshi's route takes place chronologically before the kid's route, assuming that that was actually responding to the kid just now. Because if so, then the roots are sort of linked more horizontally than vertically, if that makes sense. Huh. Yeah, not sure what to make of that. Time passed. We all split up, roamed around freely doing what we wanted to do. Some wandered the complex, some tried to open up communications with the outside, some tried to think of ways to escape. But no one gave up, and everyone was working on ways to get out of a difficult situation. But it was all in vain. We made no breakthroughs. The evening of the 5th rolled around. I wandered aimlessly around Limu by myself. Honestly, I had not been able to forget what Sarah had said to me the day before, or more accurately, that morning. I couldn't seem to clear my mind. At breakfast, Sarah was her same old self. I thought that a little walk might make for a nice change of mood. The next thing I knew, I was heading for the Cosmic Whale. I took the A elevator. rode down to the 3rd floor that was flooded with water. There was no guarantee that Sarah would be there. I turned my head, inspecting the area. It was just then that I saw her again. Hey! I saw her small figure cutting across the corridor. So is this when the flooding happens? I was sure of it. It was that girl. I chased after her. Her skirt shook back and forth as she walked further and further away. It was almost as if she were trying to get away from me. Hey, wait a minute! She might not have heard me. She didn't show any signs of stopping. I wonder what it was all about. This girl that kept appearing out of nowhere and then disappearing. This girl that didn't register on Lemma's bioscan. No, she had registered once. Life reading 7. But the more I thought about it, the stranger everything seemed. She only appeared in front of me and we hardly communicated. Whatever, I knew thinking about it wouldn't help. It was something that I could solve by asking her directly. She headed into the Cosmic Whale room. I followed in soon after her. I didn't see her anywhere. Instead, I saw Sarah sitting in the same place we had sat earlier, on the whale. Okay, interesting. Because last time I think he did find Coco in here. Sarah was singing softly. Moon sprite shouldering a longbow. Ever17, being uncooperative. And crashing, and not crashing. Waiting inside a dream. Ever17, the Out of Infinity, Premium Edition, not responding. Tonight a story by Moonlight. Not responding again. I mean, at least it's not like in the hoping the wait will be short. At least it's not like what happened in Useroot, where the game crashed and then I could not advance the story. That was a little bit unfortunate. Here it's just like taking sleeping curled and snug, taking forever to advance the dialogue, but at least it is advancing. Sleeping in mother's arms. Her voice echoed quietly as if it were seeping into the night sky. Somehow it sounded faintly sad and lonely. I couldn't make myself call out to Sarah. My eyes opened to the jarring sound of metal screaming under strain. I didn't know if it was because of my broken arm or the swimming of Sarah. But I felt sluggish and feverish, so I took some medicine and went to bed. Interesting. Didn't that area, like, flood last time in Useroot? When that was happening? Like, you would think that that would be important enough that, like, even if the kid immediately left the area, someone would mention it. Vibrations shook through Limu. Oh, so maybe it was, like, a little bit earlier this time? I wonder if something happened. By the time I'd gotten out of the infirmary, the shaking had stopped. Or, like, rather, the kid went to the whale room, I don't know, 20 minutes earlier than he had in Useroot. It's entirely plausible. I thought that if I went to the security office, I might learn what happened. Tsugumi, what happened? I don't know, I just got here myself. Tsugumi said it coolly. Then Sora appeared in the room. So you two are here. Sora, did something happen? Yes, water breached the Cosmic Whale room. Water breached it? Yes, the room's wall collapsed under the water pressure and started flooding. Are we alright? The doors to the Cosmic Whale have been sealed so there will be no effect on other areas. What about everyone else? You and Takeshi are in the control room. You and Takeshi... What about Sarah? Sarah, her last confirmed location is in a corridor near the Cosmic Whale. Corridor? Sensors in that area are not functioning at full capacity, so I haven't been able to verify this. Presently, it's completely cut off. What about Sarah? I'm unable to confirm her location anywhere else in Limu. No, wait, then she was in that room! I couldn't stand staying in that room and ran outside. Tsugumi followed on my heels. Tsugumi and I went down to the area housing the Cosmic Whale room. Sora, can you open the doors to the room? That's impossible. But... I'm sorry, if I open these doors down, this sector will flood as well. If the generator room floods, then we'll be powerless. I cannot do that. What about Sarah? Sarah! Calm down. Tsugumi! Sora, are the emergency corridors around here still functioning? Is there any way to get to the room through them? I'll check. Yes, there's a corridor directly above the Cosmic Whale. However, it's not possible to enter Cosmic Whale from there. That area is completely flooded. But we could enter it by diving, right? Yes, but... I'll go. We've got to save Sarah. With that broken arm? What are you gonna do? But... You'll start drowning, and in the end I'll have to save you, too. I'll go. But Tsugumi, you're injured, so stay quiet. Sora, where's the nearest entrance to a corridor that'll get me there? Use the connecting staircase out of here and to the left. Tsugumi started running before Sarah was done speaking. I chased after Tsugumi. Tsugumi, why? There's no other choice. We're in this together. Tsugumi sprinted the emergency stairs and climbed the emergency corridor. Well, I'm glad to see that Tsugumi feels cooperative in this route. At least she's not, like, waffling about, like, leaving people to die like she did in her route. And Sora's route. She's like, saving Coco was not the best decision I ever made. It's like, hello? Hello? We generally try to, not let our acquaintances die? But I digress. I followed right behind her. When I got to the corridor, Tsugumi was running for the Cosmic Whale Room. I hurriedly ran after her. I know verb tenses. Tsugumi had turned the corner, had already opened the hatch of the whale room and was peering in. Tsugumi, wait! Tsugumi glanced at me. Wait here. Saying that, Tsugumi left through the hatch. Tsugumi! Sora, is Tsugumi okay? I don't know. Now we can only trust and wait for her. Only Sora's voice echoed around me. She was speaking through a different set of emergency speakers, and her voice crackled and mixed with static. You and Takeshi said they'll wait for you in the infirmary. Okay. I looked in the emergency hatch again. Inside, the hatch was brimming with cold water. Frustrated and feeling powerless because I could only wait, I tried to be patient. Tsugumi, please, find Sarah. Sarah. Time passed. It might not have really been that long, but at that time it felt like an eternity to me. Tsugumi came bursting out of the water. Hey, we found her! On her back she was carrying Sarah. Sarah! Let's get her out of the water. Okay. I forgot the pain in my arm and yanked Sarah up. Sarah was like ice cold and hard. Sarah was like ice, cold and hard. In her firmly clenched fist was the pendant. Tsugumi put her hand on the back of her neck. There's no pulse. No, Sarah! It can't be! Sarah, wake up, Sarah! I shook Sarah's cold body. Tsugumi tried to calm me down and spoke. Anyway, let's get her to the infirmary. We carried her to the infirmary and lay her on an examination table. Tsugumi immediately started giving her a heart massage. Takeshi and you were fiddling with the machines around the examination table trying to learn more about Sarah's status. Takeshi got out the defibrillator. A beep signaled they were charged, and Takeshi placed the two pads on Sarah's chest. Whap! Sarah's body jumped. Tsugumi put her hand on Sarah's neck and shook her head. She went right back to massaging her heart. Damn, one more time. The beep echoed again, and then the electric pulse again. Sarah's face was drained of color and her lips were blue. Her body was stiff and unresponsive. All I could do was watch the three of them busily work to save her. There was nothing in the drawers of memory accessible to me, telling me how to act in this situation. Images of time I had spent with Sarah until now flashed through my mind, and the voices in the room barely reached me. Finally, Tsugumi relaxed her hands. With a look of grief, she moved away from Sarah. Takeshi also put the defibrillator back on the table. No. Damn, why? What happened? Hey, why are you all stopping? Hey, why do you all have those looks on your faces? Kid. It can't be! Sarah! Sarah, wake up, Sarah! I started trying to copy Tsugumi's heart massage. The three of them watched with sad looks on their faces. Why do you all want to give up? Sarah isn't gonna die! She can't die here! I continued to pump her chest frantically. Sarah! Sarah, open your eyes! Open your eyes! Kid. You put her hand on my shoulder. But I shook her hand off and continued pushing on Sarah's chest. Don't die! Open your eyes! Sarah! Why do you care now? You were the one that ran away alone. I heard a voice. No, I didn't run away! I wanted to help you! I put more power into the hand I was using to push on her chest. Her ribs bent under the strain. Still, I kept pumping. I told you, Sarah! Sarah, I told you I would come to help you! I told you I'd come to help you, didn't I? I prayed for Sarah's heart to start beating. Sarah! You said you'd wait like a good girl! You said you'd wait, didn't you? I pushed a little harder. So, not to, sort of ruin the dramatic tension here, but, this would be a great time to find out whether or not the rest of the cast has cure. Because up until now, nobody's really died on screen yet, right? Like, the entire cast sort of contracted TB other than Tsugumi at, the end of Takeshi's roots, so it's sort of, we can infer from that nobody else has cure, But Sarah wasn't there, right? So we don't actually have that sort of soft guarantee that Sarah doesn't have cure. And given that they were in some sort of, like, medical situation place when the kid ran off on his own and left Sarah behind, assuming it's Sarah, which so far they've not been, like, subtle about telling me it's Sarah, right? That Sarah's the sister or whatever. It's entirely conceivable that that laboratory is the same laboratory that Tsugumi was in, and Sarah was a test subject for cure or whatever. So it's entirely possible that, like, that's how she avoids dying here after dying. I pushed a little harder. Cough. A little water came out of Sarah's mouth. She started breathing faintly and more water came out of her mouth. Sarah! Sarah! I shook Sarah desperately. Sarah's eyes opened slightly. Oh, Sarah! That instant, the tension in the atmosphere of the infirmary eased. Oh, thank goodness. Sarah? Sarah? I heard a song coming from somewhere. It was a soft but somehow lonely voice singing. Moon sprite shouldering a long bow. Ever17, the Out of Infinity Premium Edition, not responding. Waiting inside a dream. For the text to advance at a slightly faster pace. Tonight a story by moonlight. A story that advances very slowly. Much to my chagrin. Hoping the wait will be short. But it never is. It's like 15 seconds. Sleeping curled and snug. Just like what the game is doing. Between every line. Sleeping in mother's arms. Just like what the game is doing. Between every line. Water sprite lifting a pair of paddles. What? Like, snarky comments about the stability of my copy of Ever17 aside. Like, what is this song about? Waiting inside a dream. Like, is it just like a generic lullaby? Tonight the whirlpool demon waiting for a boat. What? There's a whirlpool demon now? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to take away from this lullaby, if anything. Hoping the wait will be short. Wait. That's super morbid. Like, rocked to sleep. Like, are we supposed to be rooting for the whirlpool demon? Because presumably the whirlpool demon waiting for the boat will kill the people in the boat when the boat comes to it. Like, that's how whirlpools work. And probably also how demons work. Sleeping, held by the ocean. And then it's just the next day. I'm so confused. I mean, I guess it's like a reasonable-ish place for a scene transition. Okay, fine. Complaint retracted. I woke with a nostalgic feeling. I found myself in a narrow bed in the infirmary. Looking up at the white ceiling, I gently nodded off. My memories slowly came back to me. Flooding in the cosmic whale and saving Sarah. Man, I got really excited there for a second. I was like, wait, his memories are coming back to him? Wow, that was quick. But then they did not come back. Sarah coming back to life. My fever worsening and then my collapsing. I looked over to the bed next to mine. Sarah was asleep on the bed next to mine. Her breathing was regular and her cheeks flushed a healthy pink. Feeling a bit relieved, I let myself half doze. From far away, I could hear faint voices. It seemed to come from an incredible distance, and were all jumbled together, but they sounded like Tsugumi and Takeshi. Their voices echoed slightly. The words were too faint for me to make out what they were saying. They were talking about Hamel or Harmel something, words that I thought I had heard before, but the sounds quickly changed in my mind to meaningless garble. Heimel, I believe, is the word you're looking for. After a while, the voices stopped. Out of habit, I touched my pinky to the thumb of my left hand. It felt a bit strange. I lifted my left hand and stared at the thumb. Something was strange, out of place. The blurriness of my vision suddenly came into focus. The scar was gone. What? Why? How could it be gone? I hurriedly sat up. I stared at my left hand again. The scar was nowhere to be found. I was sure there had been a scar there. I remember noticing it when I had opened the elevator to rescue Sarah. Had it just been a figment of my imagination? No, I was sure it hadn't been. I was positive there had been a scar. But why had the scar suddenly vanished? A sense of loss flooded through me, making me feel like I had a gaping hole in my heart. I sensed that I had lost something critically important, but I was unsure of what. That was how I felt. Sora! Sora! Forgetting that Sarah was sleeping, I shouted out for Sora. Yes, kid, what is it? Sora's voice answered me. Sora, did you do something to me? Something? What do you mean? Don't pretend you don't know. There was a scar on my left hand. But it's gone now. Oh, so that's what you mean. Sora appeared in the entrance to the room. What are you talking about? While you were sleeping, I extracted it. Extracted what? Oh, is there a chunk of glass in his hand? Perhaps you should come over here. I approached the examination table as Sora suggested. This. Sora pointed to a small shard suspended by a manipulator arm above the examination table. That's kind of weird, but, like, makes sense from, like, a narrative standpoint, I guess. From a logistics standpoint, it's, like, a little bit dubious. Like, God knows how long that, like... Sarah said that the pendant had been broken for as long as she could remember, right? So, that means that, like, that tiny shard of glass had been embedded in his thumb for, like, a decade. I guess it's not, like, unheard of. I think I read a story once about a guy who just had a bullet in his gut for, like, decades because he had fought in World War II or something. And then he was at, like, I don't know, like, a standard checkup in his, like, his 80s or something. And the doctor's like, wait, you just have a bullet in your chest. And the guy's like, huh, I guess I do. I never noticed. So, it's, like, probably feasible. It's kind of weird. This was embedded in your thumb, so I extracted it. What gave you the right to do that? It could have been a clue leading my past. Or it could have just been a shard of glass stuck in your hand. I let loose on Sora without thinking. Yes, you're exactly right. However, no good can come of leaving a foreign object in your body to fester. I'm with Sora on this one. I believe immediate medical concerns take precedent over weird amnesia flashbacks. More importantly, kid, do you recall seeing this fragment before? No, how could I? It didn't make sense to me why Sora would ask such a thing. This fragment has an image recorded on it. Sora continued speaking calmly. An image? Would you like to see it? I pinched the shard that had been buried in my thumb between my fingers. This... It had the same holographic image as Sarah's pendant. There was a picture of a man floating there. Can you see it? Yeah, I can see it. The hologram was designed so it can only be seen when viewed with light of a certain wavelength. Right now I'm using Lemma to shine the proper light on it. I could not confirm the date of manufacture of this hologram, but it's undoubtedly very old. Its makeup is fundamentally different from the ones being sold at Limu's kiosks. Also, assuming that the story takes place in 2017, and this is like at least a decade old, that means, and Ever17 came out in what, like 2004 rather? So like, that's kind of ambitious on the part of the writers, don't you think? They're like, oh yeah, in the next 3 years, we're gonna have like badass hologram technology. That's gonna be a thing. I mean, yes, it's sci-fi, so they get a pass, but like still. In the past, holograms were recorded using an interference pattern made from an object beam and a reference beam. Put simply, the object beam is the light reflected off the object. The reference beam is the light that interferes with the object beam. Do you understand? No, not even a little bit. Sora continued on without giving me time to think. Oh, I wonder if there's a connection between the kid being able to see this hologram here and the kid being able to see Coco. Because Sarah was AFK when Coco showed up just now, right? At the statues. Right? Like, the kid was like, look, Sarah's over there, or Coco's over there, rather, and you was like, I don't see anyone. Which was sort of similar to how the kid was... He pulled out the pendant when he and Takeshi were, like, looking for the missing shard or whatever. And he was like, look, there's a hologram of a person here, and Takeshi's like, I don't see jack shit. And Yu's like, oh, yeah, I don't see jack shit either. Like, I wonder if those two things are related. I wonder if the kid has special eyes. And now comes the important part. In order to make this hologram appear, light, which is the same wavelength as the reference beam used to record the image, must be shined upon it. So, to sum it up, it's like this. The image on this fragmented hologram was recorded using light that was a certain wavelength. Okay. And in order to see the image, you must shine light of the same wavelength on it. It also cannot be seen under fluorescent light. You must use light generated by a heat-emitting light source, such as a sunlight or the flame of a lighter. And Sora continued her explanation. She said that the special wavelength of light was infrared around 850 nanometers? That's what NM is? Nanometer sounds plausible. And that ordinary people couldn't see infrared light. She went on to say that if a person were able to see infrared, they would even be able to see in the dark. Oh, interesting. Because that's come up a couple times, right? Where the kid just, like, is able to see in the dark way better than everyone else. I think, like, when he and you were investigating the room off to the side of the warehouse that he had his little vision quest in. Like, he, like, messed with a breaker or something. And you was like, oh my god, it's hella dark. And the kid's like, is it? I didn't notice. I can see just fine. So, the kid has, like, the kid actually has special eyes. He can, like, see infrared. That's weird. Is that, like, an actual thing? Are there, like, people that can see, like, more wavelengths of light than, like, normal people can? Or, like, are there people that can, like, see ultraviolet? It's kind of cool. Unless it's not a real thing, in which case, like, obviously it's not, it's less cool by virtue of being not real. But they can only see objects that emitted heat. Put another way, objects that gave off heat also emitted infrared rays. And if you could see infrared rays, then you could tell the temperature of something without having to... Oh, shit. Oh my god. I'm so dumb. I mean, in my defense, the game did a really good job bait and switching. Like, it, what it did was it sort of... It did a really good job of making me think there was a relationship between the kid's, like, weird deja vu stuff and the fact that he knew the door of the generator room was dangerous. But that's not it. The weird deja vu stuff was just him being a head case. And him knowing that the door to the generator room was because he can see infrared light that people can't. So he could see that the doorknob was hot. He didn't have, like, supernatural or, like, extrasensory perception of danger. He can just see when the doorknob is hot. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Oh my god, I just got baited so hard. I also, like, really wanted it to be like time travel, because I like time travel as a mechanic if it's executed well. But, like... Wow! That's super fucking clever. I give mad props to the Ever17 writers for that one. Infrared sight. That's, like, the most boring superpower imaginable. In fact, so boring that I think there are probably real-life people who have it. And yet they took that super boring superpower and were able to use it and, like, cleverly place misdirection to make a really minor mystery seem much more important than it actually was. Wow, that's super cool. I'm impressed. Mad props. Man, this reading experience was now, like, retroactively worth it just for that. Damn, that was clever. You wouldn't be able to see this image unless you can see infrared light. The fact that you can see this image means that you can see infrared light, kid. But what about Sarah? Does that mean that Sarah can too? Yes, both of you have a very unique ability to see infrared light. And then it makes sense that they both have the ability because they're siblings. And probably hereditary in some capacity. Thinking back on it, that probably explained why Takeshi and you couldn't see the image in the pendant. But why was this hologram in my finger? I trembled as I said this. It's the same image as in Sarah's pendant. Are you saying that the missing piece of that pendant has been in my thumb? That's the only conceivable explanation. The surface and shape of the fragment match the pendant perfectly. But why? That, kid, is because you and Sarah are siblings. Wait, they're just gonna tell me? I mean, I guess they weren't exactly being subtle about it before, so this isn't supposed to be some big reveal. But why does Sora know? Did she, like, blood test them or something? I guess that's entirely plausible. It can't be. It's the same reason that you both have the ability to see infrared light. It's probably because you both carry the same genes. No. No, no, no. Kid, why wouldn't that make you happy? Well, you see, it's because he wants to get in her pants. You found a blood relative. Is there any better way possible to recover your memory? No, no. I held my head and crouched down. In either case, it's a fact and you should accept it. While you two were asleep, I performed a DNA analysis on both of you. The results are indicated on the display. The probability that you are brother and sister is nearly 100%. No, 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 no. Suddenly, the wall of my memory that I tried so hard to destroy, but I'd been unable to breach, crumbled. Like a dam that was holding back the overflow of my memory, it burst, unleashing a torrent of images that flooded into my mind. Ah! Memories of my life, in no apparent order, flashed across my mind like random slides appearing on a screen. From one to the next, they floated up and vanished. My mind couldn't handle the flood of memories. And then came the darkness. I heard a lullaby coming from somewhere. Oh my god, if my game starts crashing again, I'm gonna be deeply upset. You can't do this to me. This is America. I'm an American citizen. I have rights. Wait. It's just black. Is this like supposed to be like immersive or something? Like, then came the darkness. And then we have darkness. Wow. I'm feeling real immersed right now. Hello? Darkness? Darkness? Hello? Hello? Alright, well I can't access the file menu either, which makes me think that my game is crashing. So, what I'm gonna do is what? Oh, there we go. Maybe there's supposed to be like a video playing there or something. Or like a sound file. Because I think my sound files might be messed up. That's why the game keeps crashing when the lullaby plays. But we're functional again, so I was about to like close the video and like figure out what was going wrong, but we figured it out. Well, we didn't figure it out, but we have successfully sidestepped the problem by waiting 40 seconds. I groggily opened my eyes. I was lying on a hard bed. Hello? I heard a voice crying from outside. There was a girl surrounded by a group of bullies in an open space. It was Sarah. The kids were being cruel, jeering her and making fun of her in only the way that kids can. I ran up to Sarah. The bullies scattered like baby spiders in the wind. Sarah said that her precious pendant had been broken. Sarah clutched the pendant firmly in her hand. I bent over to pick up the fragment from it. I felt a sudden shock from behind. I was plunged forward. With a sharp pain, the shard was buried in my thumb. Wow, rude. The kids that always bullied Sarah had encircled us. That laughter and howls of our tormentors echoed around us. Bullies, how could you do this to Sarah? Forgetting myself, I lunged at the mob of kids. They beat me mercilessly, and as I lay on the ground in that open space, I faced skyward. Satisfied with what they had done to me, the bullies had left. Sarah came and held out her hands to me. You're so brave, brother. She smiled as she said it. Even though I lost. Blood continued to drip from my finger. Not wanting to worry Sarah, I pretended that everything was fine, and dismissed it as nothing. I didn't want to say anything to our teacher. I didn't go to the doctor. I just silently endured the pain. It seemed to me that to tell someone of it would mean that I had lost. In time, the wound closed up. Then one day, a nice lady in a suit came. And then everything went downhill from there. She told us there was a place we could go where things would be better, and she was lying. Saying this, the lady held out her hand. We could see things that other people couldn't. At first we thought our abilities were normal, but everyone had shunned us. The lady said she wanted to study us. Wait, how would other kids find out about that? Like, it's not exactly the most, like, ostentatious superpower. Like, your superpower is, like, you have slightly better night vision. Congratulations, you can accomplish that by, like, eating a bucket of carrots. Right? Like, it's not exactly the thing that's, like, easy to ostracize someone over, because, like, in all likelihood, no one would ever know, like, not even the person themselves. The lady said she wanted to study us. I decided to go along with the idea. Our caretakers at the orphanage where we lived Our caretakers at the orphanage where we lived were happy to see us leave, because they thought we were troublemakers. We fell right into their trap. They locked us in a small hospital room. Day in and day out, we were marched from that room to the research institute. At night, moonlight would stream in from the lone window. The only thing I remember are the Lieblich logos on the door we passed each day, and the white frocks of the research employees. And every night, the voice of Sarah crying in the room next to me. What the hell is wrong with these people? Like, again, this is not a cool superpower. Like, it's interesting. It's kinda handy. But, like, there's not that much cool stuff you can do with, like, infrared vision. Like, you know what else gives you infrared vision? Infrared goggles. You know you can purchase those, probably from, like, Toys R Us. Right? Like, it's like the guy from Mob Psycho 100, whose superpower is, like, he can make a flame come out of his finger, and it's, like, the size of a flame of a lighter. And somebody's like, congratulations, your superpower is worth about 97 cents. Like, that's sort of the feeling I'm getting here. Like, this isn't a cool enough superpower to justify, like, torturing kids over, and, like, not, like, torturing, but, like, using them as lab rats. Like, if the superpower was, like, the ability to fly, then maybe. You could make a utilitarian argument for, messing up two kids' lives real bad to figure out how it works. Or, like, I don't know, super strength. Or time travel. Or, having the cure virus. Like, that one you can make a semi-reasonable argument for why you would want to run a bunch of tests on a bunch of 6-year-olds. But, like, infrared sight? Really? You're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, guys. One day, there was something in the air that was different from other days. We were taken from our rooms and led to a research office in a different area. People who I'd never seen before took me away. Sarah alone was left there. Brother! I could hear Sarah's screams. I shook off the adult hands and ran to where Sarah was. The researchers tried to block my path. Sarah! Brother! Sarah, wait for me! I'll come back for you, I promise. I will come find you. Be a good girl and wait for me. I'll be good and wait for you. But come for sure. You come to get me for sure, okay? I'll wait. I'll wait forever. I had promised. That was how things were. Back then I had promised. I'd promised to go get her, but I hadn't gone. I couldn't go. I was moved to another facility, and after a while I was taken to a new home. My foster parents were good people. They were good to me if I didn't get out of line, but they had sold their souls to and were controlled by Lieblich. I passed my time under their forgiving but ever-present eyes, not being able to search for Sarah. Still, there were times when I did my best to find leads to her. But I didn't even know where the research facility was, and something would always get in my way, and after a while I couldn't search anymore. I just hadn't been able to help Sarah with my limited powers. But no matter what excuses I came up with, the results were the same. I had abandoned Sarah. In the isolated clinic room into which the cold moonlight shined. I couldn't keep my promise. Even now, Sarah was on the other side of the door. I knew that she was still waiting for me in that miserable little room, still believing in me, just as I had promised. The sense of guilt I felt overpowered me. It left me with an agonizing sense of hopelessness and utter despair. There was nothing I could do. I didn't have any other choice. What else could I have done? When I opened my eyes, I was lying on a bed in the infirmary. I didn't know if someone had brought me there. I had dragged myself unconsciously. I looked at my watch without thinking. Not much time had passed since I had passed out. Lying on the bed, I looked up at the ceiling and thought about the events leading up to this point. The reason I had known that it was too hot inside the generator room was my infrared vision, and the moonlight coming from the inverter unit had been the same thing. In the darkness, I had mistaken the heat from the inverter as moonlight. Oh yeah, I hadn't picked up on that one. I had just assumed that one was him going crazy. And the shock that I'd felt when I met Sarah made sense too. We were siblings, after all. Probably, even without my memory, in the back of my mind I had known. That's why, the first time I'd seen Sarah, and why she grasped my thumb in the darkness. Why had she sung that lullaby that time? You really don't know? Oh, I see. That's right. It seemed to me that Sarah had probably noticed. That we were brother and sister. So, I raised myself up. Sarah was still asleep on the bed next to me. I stood next to Sarah's pillow and stared down at her face. My memory was still a little jumbled, but there was no mistaking that face. It was Sarah. Little Sarah had grown to be 16. It had to be her. I was sure it was Sarah. The sister that I'd made a promise to find, but then broke. I felt so guilty and ashamed, I couldn't look at Sarah's face. It was hard just being there. I didn't know what to say to Sarah. What excuses could I make to her? No matter what I said to her, it would all ring hollow. I wanted to get out of there before Sarah woke up. I walked toward the door. Brother? With her voice, my legs stopped. I didn't have the courage to turn around. You're my brother, right? Sarah continued talking. Each of her words was like a stab in the heart. Brother? No! I spit out the words without thinking. Huh? You're wrong about me. That can't be. You're my brother, right? No! I sensed that Sarah was about to get up from the bed, so I tried to leave. Wait! Brother, wait! Her voice sounded just like when she, had cried out to me when she was a child, and I froze, unable to move. You are my brother. You are, aren't you? Sarah grabbed my shoulders. Hey, why don't you say something? Look at me! Sarah circled around in front of me, all the time holding my shoulders. But I couldn't bear to look Sarah in the face and turned away. Hey, why won't you look at me? Hey, look at me! I said look at me! No, no, no! I shook off Sarah's hands. Ah! Sarah! Sarah threw her arms around me, hugging me tightly. Sarah's eyes stared directly at me. Why? Why are you denying me? You are my brother, right? You are, aren't you? No, no, Why not? I know you are! You're my brother! My brother! I waited for you! I waited and waited! I waited forever for you to come! Brother! Sarah fell to the ground and I said nothing to her. I just ran out of the room. What is wrong with you, kid? Like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, okay, you have lingering guilt over not being able to overcome the resources of Lieblich Pharmaceutical to find one of their, test, persons. Like, turns out that that's not actually, like, the greatest sin you could possibly commit. Like, it turns out when, large pharmaceutical companies are, performing human research, probably illegally, they, probably go to non-zero length to make it difficult to track down what they're doing. Like, this isn't really your fault. Also, the whole amnesia thing, probably also not your fault. That's right, I ran away. I ran from Sarah and from my past. I squatted in the small room in the back of the warehouse. All I could do was just keep running away from Sarah and my past. I was such a coward. Overcome by the memories that had come rushing back to me, I had run away from my sister. I couldn't even accept my own weakness. I denied myself. It was less scary than acknowledging what I had done. I was such a coward. Had I known this would happen, I would have never wanted my memory back. What is wrong with you, child? Things were better when I didn't remember anything. Crouching there in the corner, I was paralyzed. I couldn't face Sarah, my own sister. All I could do was watch the time pass by. My memory had been completely restored, apart from recent events. I knew my age, address, and phone number. Are we gonna finally get to learn his name? Like, that was one thing I noticed where, like, it probably flows a little bit more naturally in the original Japanese. In fact, it almost certainly flows more naturally in the original Japanese. But in the flashbacks, Kid was referring to Sarah by her name, and she was referring to him as brother. Which makes sense in Japanese, but it sounds like a little bit heavy-handed in English when you're, like, obviously trying not to reveal the kid's name. I also remembered my foster mother and father. Still, there was just one crucial thing that I couldn't remember. Wait, you can't remember his name? I swear to fucking God. This is why we can't have nice things. That was my name. What was my name? To find out what the kid's name is, tune in to Monday's episode of Ever17 Ball Z, where we will hopefully learn what it is. And if we don't, I don't know, I'll have harsh words with the Ever17 writers. Like, they've earned a lot of goodwill from me for the infrared thing. Like, that was clever. And now if they're gonna drag this thing out, like, I don't even care what his name is, I just want to be told what it is, so that I can stop thinking about it. Anyway, hope you all have a lovely weekend. Catch y'all later. Peace.